Speaker. It is, as always, a pleasure to listen to the honourable member for Glasgow East, and he treats the House to the usual rendition from the Scottish Nationalists of why they stand for independence, and that, Madam Deputy Speaker, is all, in truth, that they really stand for. But I rise to make a short contribution in this debate on the second reading of the Finance Bill, and will restrict my comments to Clause 61. Because I'm mindful as I stand here that I didn't agree with my honourable friend, the member for Chatham and Aylesford, on the issue of safe standing at football matches, but I have nothing but admiration for the principled stand she has taken on the matter of resetting the maximum stake for fixed odds betting terminals to £2, and that measure should be effective by next April at the latest. So I completely agree with her position, and that is why I have been willing to have my name attached to future amendments to this bill brought forward by friends, because I believe that the discussion of apparently this implementation will take so long to get in place, but I really don't believe that that stands up to scrutiny. And while the government's position currently is that they say this needs to be put in place for next autumn, I really believe that it doesn't need to take that long. The very simple matter is that the longer we wait to implement this measure, the more damage is being inflicted on the most vulnerable people in our society. Madam Deputy Speaker, 43% of people using these fixed odds betting terminals either are a problem or at-risk gamblers. And when you consider that 230,000 sessions on these machines in a single year resulted in losses of more than £1,000 each session, any further delay to reducing the maximum stake to £2 is really not just justifiable in societal terms. And it's not justifiable in terms of the time that is really needed to make this adjustment happen. It's not justified in terms of the ongoing social costs, the misery that occurs when individuals lose control of their decision-making faculty to gambling addiction. And I simply cannot accept, on the grounds of any sort of morality that I would wish to be associated with, that the special pleading of the betting firms should take any sort of a priority over the damage that's being inflicted on society, on families and on children, and by those who are suffering from gambling addiction and for whom these machines are an outlet. The startling statistic is that for every second of every day, these machines cost their players £57 per second in losses. And there are 33,000 of these fixed odds betting terminals and betting shops across the UK. And there's a very helpful live ready reckoner on the website for the fixed odds betting terminals, APPG, which calculates to the second how much has been lost on these machines since the government first called for evidence on what the maximum stake for these terminals should be, and that was way back in October 2016. And that number, the last time I checked earlier today, after 749 days, is in excess of £3.7 billion. And I'm not prepared to stand by, and couldn't do so by a matter of conscience, and do nothing when action is required. And the government has already accepted that action is necessary. They have described these machines in the most disparaging terms as well. And therefore I simply ask that the measure be implemented in April at the soonest. Perhaps a justification will be forward as to somehow this is going to cost the Treasury lost revenue, but I ask, at what price? Are we really saying that there is not a more productive use for these billions of pounds in terms of economic activity in our country? I think there is. And we should not underestimate the devastating effects of the vice-like grip of an addiction such as gambling. And the government should act now to do what it has already resolved to do, not in 12 months' time, but by April next year at the very latest.
Is it not a fact that the sector and the industry has had 18 months to get themselves ready for this? They knew it was coming. They should have got their house in order. They don't need any more time.
to the Honourable Gentleman for his intervention, and he's quite right. And reference was already made to the KPMG report, which was provided at the instigation of the Association of British Bookmakers, and which KPMG themselves advised should not be therefore regarded as suitable to be used or relied on by any person or for any other purpose. The terms and scope of this report having been determined by their client, in this case the Association of British Bookmakers. And Paddy Power Betfair wrote to the Prime Minister because they were so shocked that this report would be used as a credible source for decision-making, saying that some of the assumptions in the report were unrealistic. So, Madam Deputy Speaker, overcoming addiction is not simply a matter of exercising willpower. Addiction robs people of the power to decide for themselves. We have power in this House to take necessary measures which will protect the most vulnerable people, protect the most vulnerable families, protect the children of those families. And I very much hope that the Government will take the decision to do so earlier.
Drew Hendry.
Thank you, Madam Deputy Speaker.